Hey everybody, it's Vicky again with Dementia with Grace. So glad you've joined me today. We're going to talk about wandering today. We talked about sundowning and things connected to that, sleep disruption, all of that yesterday on the video, but today we're going to talk about wandering, and it can sometimes be tied together. So we're going to talk about that and how they interact with each other and all of that. But mainly today it's going to be about the behavior, the problem behavior of wandering. Now, this happens in the life of somebody with dementia almost always at some point, either pacing or wandering. And there's a little bit of a difference, and we're going to talk about that. But a lot of times this is what happens, that a person just can no longer be cared for at home by themselves. You know, they either have to have somebody come into the home, or they have to be placed in a facility, because obviously wandering can be extremely dangerous. Wandering, really it goes in the order of pacing, wandering, and then what we call elopement. Elopement is actually getting away from the home and getting lost, or out of the nursing home and getting lost, or the assisted living and getting lost, you know, that kind of thing. Basically, wandering to the point of becoming lost. So there's tips and tricks to keep this from happening, and then there's measures to take if it happens. So we're going to go over all of that. Okay, pacing. Pacing is just the movement of back and forth. You know, there's a lot of people that just have a lot of extra energy, and they just don't like to sit still. They were that way when they were a child. They were that way when they were a teenager, in their 40s, and now that they have dementia, that has not gone away. There are people who just don't like to stay in one position. One seated position, one standing position. They just want to be moving. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. As long as you have provided them a safe place to pace. They need to be able to you know, go from one room to the other, and, you know, there not be any barriers. You need to make sure that, you know, if they're upstairs and they're pacing and they don't do well with stairs, you know, have a safety gate, you know, something like that at the top of the stairs. But obviously, you want to, you know, you just want to be able to give them a safe place to pace. You know, it doesn't matter in the scheme of things if they move objects from one place to the other, move picture frames from one table to another, move objects from the desk to a chair, from a chair to the bed. Maybe they unmake the bed and make the bed up. They put pillows in different places. You know, there's all manners of manifestations of pacing. And in the scheme of things, in the big picture, it doesn't matter that they've moved things around. Now, you have some people who are naturally rigid. And if you are a rigid person and you are the person providing care, it may drive you crazy that all the throw pillows move from the bed to the floor, to the chair, to the bed, to the floor, to the chair, to the floor. That may drive you insane. And I'm sorry, you know, but that is just one of those things that, you know, that you have to manage. You can manage your behavior and your reactions to that better than they can manage whether or not they're pacing and relocating things from places to place. You know, if that is keeping them busy all day long, that's a yes. We will absolutely, we will talk about the power of yes in its own separate video. But let me go ahead and tell you that the less you have to say no, the less you argue. And the less you argue, the more peaceful your day is going to be. And that is the goal, right? For peaceful days. Peaceful days for you, peaceful days for them. And so that's the goal. Now, wandering is a little bit different than pacing. Pacing is kind of self-contained. It's kind of, you know, it's not hurting anything. There's no, you know, there's no real end point to it. So it's kind of in a loop. So they may go from the kitchen to the bathroom to the bedroom to the bathroom to the kitchen to the bedroom to the kitchen. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I wouldn't interrupt that behavior. I would let that behavior have its course. There's no need to interrupt that behavior. It's not hurting anyone. It may be getting on your nerves, but it's not going to hurt you. And, you know, one of those things not going to keep you out of heaven. So, you know, don't worry about that. Wandering is more of a purposeful behavior, although they might not totally understand the purpose. Does that make sense? It's a kind of a thing where you would have to, if they were really wanting to go somewhere and do something, they would have to plan and execute, and that is much, much harder as you go through the stages of dementia. So once somebody is wandering, they're usually, again, a behavior is because of an unmet need. So they may have a need. Usually, if somebody is wandering, similarly with pacing, they have a need for movement. They have a need for exercise. They have a need for purposeful, gainful motion. It has an end point, though, usually. They might be needing to be toileted, but they can't really, they may have that urge, that feeling that they've got to go to the bathroom, but they don't remember where the bathroom is, and so it looks like wandering. Pacing would be the same way with that, but usually that's a wandering kind of behavior. So they might need to be toileted. You need to check that need. Do they need to exercise? Do they need to be toileted? They might be bored. They might be absolutely be bored. That is usually one of the main reasons why people wander, is that they're just trying to find something to do. If they've been sitting in the same place all day long, even if they're not those people who have to be moving, everybody wants to be in a different position every now and then. I mean, even if you're going to Netflix and chill, you got to get up and move around a little bit in the middle of Netflixing. In our situation, we got to get up and stretch our legs. If you're in a car ride, you got to stretch your legs. Well, the same thing with folks with dementia. They've got to get up and stretch their legs. Another situation where somebody might start wandering is because they feel lost. Nothing where they are right now looks familiar to them, even if they're sitting in their home of 50 years. Things just don't look familiar, and so they're going to get up and try to find familiar. That's an unmet need. They need to feel, as we have said before, home is a feeling, not a place. And so if that is happening in excess and you feel like they're going to the door, they're going to the door, they're going to the door, and they're wanting to get out and they're not safe on their own, try to, ask, say, what you looking for? Where are you headed? And a lot of times you'll get, well, honey, it's been nice. It's been so sweet, but I have just got to get home. The ladies will say, I've got to get home. I've got to get supper going. The men will say, I've got to go check on the cows. I got to go check, I'm in the South, so that's what I hear a lot. But I've got to go check on something. And they have a purpose in mind, and we have to figure out that purpose. For the lady who wants to go and get supper cooking, say, you know what? I cooked supper tonight, and I want you to stay here with me, and we're gonna we're gonna have supper tonight. Or you've already got supper on the stove, and then to redirect them. Don't challenge their behavior. Don't say, Mama, you live with me now, and you don't have to cook supper. Don't do that. Just say it's handled. Put that feeling at ease. Supper's taken care of. Let's get us a cup of coffee. Oh, we got supper going. Let's get us a cup of coffee and relax. Let's watch the news. Let's read the paper. Let's whatever that you can think of that they also enjoy, but put their mind at ease about what they're going for. Oh, I got to go check on the cows. The cows have been fed. The cows have been fed. The cows have been milked. Whatever he's wanting to go do, and say, that's taken care of. Let's get us a cup of coffee. Ooh, haven't we had a day? And then change the conversation. That will interrupt the behavioral loop. Needing exercise is something that you can kind of kill two birds with one stone with. I mean, we talked about yesterday, or the last video, about sundowning and needing to get them out and about. Somebody that needs exercise can absolutely take some exercise in the morning. It's a very good idea to get them out. Again, we talked about being up in the morning and doing all the high energy things in the morning. So definitely that could even help with the wandering. You might do the exercise in the morning that would help with the wandering in the late afternoon. Have them out, do a good, 15, 20-minute walk with you, whatever they can manage. you know, if it is a farmer, let me go see the cows. If it's somebody that needs to check on, I don't know, insert whatever they would be wanting to check on. Go and check on that in the mornings. They may want to go get the paper. They may want to walk to the corner coffee shop and get a coffee. Whatever they used to do those kinds of things, but do them in the morning so that they're getting the fresh air in the morning, the sunshine, the bright sunshine. So that's helping with the pineal gland and the secretion of melatonin, the proper circadian rhythm order that needs to happen in our bodies. Do all that in the morning. The other thing I would say is there's people that have problems with folks wandering at night. They'll go to sleep maybe, and they go to sleep fine, but they wake up in the middle of the night, and they just can't go back to sleep, and they wander, and they plunder, and you know, all of that at night. Well, one good thing to do is to restrict fluid about 2 hours before bedtime. Certainly restrict caffeine. I wouldn't do caffeine after lunch. I would not have a caffeine drink after noon. Definitely probably after 2 o'clock I would not do caffeine, and I would do water up until bedtime. You need to make sure they're hydrated. They themselves have lost sometimes the sensation of thirst and the feeling of thirst, and you know, all of that. So you definitely need to make sure they're being hydrated, but I would cut that off about 2 hours before bedtime. Toilet them right before bedtime. You know, if they can toilet themselves, say, Mama, I'm gonna go turn your bed down if you want to go to the bathroom, and then we'll settle in for sleep. And that's a good idea, to go ahead and empty their bladder. Sometimes they can make it to the morning without having to wake up. If they do wake up in the night to have to go to the bathroom, that's usually what happens. Sometimes they get lost, and they're not really wandering. It's not purposeful wandering. They're trying to find their bed again, and they can't find it. So definitely have night lights on in the hall, in the bathroom, and try to have one outside of their room. Try to keep their room as dark as possible. But you would have a night light maybe right outside, or a lamp set up right outside their bedroom, so that they could come back to their bedroom. Sometimes that will keep them from waking you up. Ways to protect folks if they are wandering is there's several different things, and I will try to talk about them in the order of protection and then relocation, that kind of thing. I would, if you are afraid about them going out by themselves, I would you can absolutely buy, in a cheap solution to this is child safety locks on the doors, or not safety locks, but those soft doorknob covers. I'll link them down below. The doorknob covers. This looks off to me. Is it off to y'all? There, that's better. The doorknob covers that cover the doorknobs where you can get in, but they would have a hard time getting the doorknob off. If they defeat that, I would put locks on the door. You know, just a simple lock. I mean, it would be, you know, something that could be defeated by emergency personnel if they had to come in. Just the little bitty bolt lock at the very, very top of the door and the very, very bottom of the door. Outside of their range, they're not usually going to look up or look down. They're at eye level, and so you would want to put a lock at eye level. They could defeat that. You would, I mean, there's little door alarms that could let you know when they're, you know, if the door were to open, it would chime, something to wake you up. I'll link all of that below. There's lots of options of things that are really fairly inexpensive for the peace of mind that they bring. I mean, you know, you can get those doorknob covers for, you know, a pack of 6 or 10 for $12 or something. I mean, it's just really, you know, not anything. You can, if the person you are wondering about wandering is really no longer able to walk safely, there's a lot of folks that lose their ability to walk, or they scissor when they walk, or you know, something like that. There are bed alarms that can let you know when they are rising from the bed, and it's just a simple little pad alarm that goes on under the sheet or under the mattress pad, and it's just a pressure sensitive thing. And so when they would rise, the alarm would go off, and you would know, oh, Mama's trying to get up, and you knew if she got up she would fall because she can no longer manage to walk. So there's things that prevent even even that much action, and that's for later on in the stages. But it's something that people need, and you need to know about it. We use it all the time in the nursing home, but folks in the home are not aware that those things are available, and they're available on Amazon for $50. It can bring a lot of peace of mind. Motion sensor alarms, all of those kinds of things. I will link those down below because they can be a help. Now, if they were to defeat all of your good intentions and they get outside, they're going to need to have identification. They need an identification bracelet. Definitely, if you have somebody in your life that has a memory disorder, they need to go ahead and have a medical alert bracelet or something. Usually that's probably the best choice. It says memory issues or memory loss, or it doesn't have to say Alzheimer's, dementia, whatever. It could just say memory loss. And it would be, I have one because I have a seizure disorder, and I have one, and it's just this, and it has my name on the front, and it has seizure disorder on the back, see wallet card, so that if I were out somewhere and I had a seizure, somebody could look in my purse, look in my wallet, and find out all, the names of my contact people, what my actual, I have temporal lobe epilepsy, so what causes a seizure disorder, that kind of thing. So you would have that in their billfold with an ID bracelet saying. So then you would have a wallet card that said what their issues are, maybe who their doctor is, definitely who their, in case of emergency numbers are, those ICE numbers. You would also, it might probably be helpful to have maybe some clothing tags that have their name in it, and you can order those. They're iron-on tags, and I'll try to find a link for those and drop it below. So those are the kinds of things that would help if they got out. Alzheimer's Association, alz.org, and I'll link it below. There's gonna be lots of show notes in the body of this, and also on the blog post, and I'll link those two things. But the Alzheimer's Association has a program called Safe Return, and you can register your person there and have them in a national database. A lot of sheriff's offices around the counties in the United States have similar types of programs, and I don't remember the name of it, but it's something like that. But you could just type in your Google, your county, sheriff's office of your county. Mine would be Sheriff's Office, Pickens County, and there's usually something, Safe Return, something, a link on there, or call your sheriff's office and ask. Call your local police department and ask, did they have something? There are GPS devices that you can have in a necklace or a bracelet or a watch that the person can wear at all times if they can't get it off. That's a concern, but that's something for you to look into. I'm letting you know what's available. You need to figure, your person the best. So you need to figure out what would be best for your person. But I'm just letting you know that these things are available in your community, in every community in the United States, and probably in some police jurisdictions everywhere. You just need to follow up and check on those things. But if you've got a person that's getting to where they are losing where they are, if they go to maybe run an errand to the grocery store and they don't get back, or they get back but they say, "Oh, I kind of got a little bit lost," when you have those kinds of things, that's when you need to go ahead and take action. One other tip that I had about the doors, about trying to disguise the doors or secure the doors. Disguising the doors makes a big difference in some folks, and it's as simple as hanging a curtain over the door. They may not remember that there's a door behind there, and so that buys you some time. If you see if you see them looking for the door, then that buys you some time to say, "Hey, what's up? What's going on? What you need?" And definitely, what do you need? Think about let me just leave you with this. Think about if you woke up, and I've used this example a lot, and if I've used it with you, I apologize, but it may be something new that you've heard. If you woke up in a foreign country and you got up out of the bed and you did not recognize anything around you, you didn't recognize any of the people around you, they spoke a different language, what would you do? What would your need be? Your need would be to figure out where you are, and if you did that or you didn't do that, the next thing would be to figure out how to get back to where you are familiar, to where you know the people, where the people know you and speak your language. So you would be on purpose trying to get back to the familiar. And so that is a lot of times what happens with wandering. They're trying to get back to the familiar. So if you have a smiling face, in the nursing home we have the, everybody has the scrubs on with the name tag. And if you look like you know what you're doing, that's who they're going to go to. So in your situation with your person, if you look like that you know what's going on, they're going to trust you. And so you need to approach them and say, how can I help you? I have somebody that wants to be in the video again. She has been, there she is. There she is. It's my Condesa. Do you see the YouTube people? Hello, YouTube people. Say, my name is Condesa. And it just makes me so nervous when my mama gets on this video trying to talk. I just want to see what everything is about. I just want to see what everything is about. So anyway, those are some information. That's some information about wandering, the difference between wandering and pacing, and all of that. So I hope it's provided some value for you. Please drop me a line below if you have a particular situation that you need help with. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. There is a Facebook group. The links are all here in the show notes. Let me know what you need. I'm trying to meet your needs, just like you're trying to meet the needs of the people that you're caring for. I care for all of y'all. I care for the folks that have dementia and their caregivers. So I'm trying to meet everybody's needs myself. So let me know what your needs are, what you want to see a video on, what you would like discussed in more detail, or maybe something I've not brought up yet, but that you definitely need a video on it. Let me know. I'm very responsive to these comments and questions, and I just want to be of service. I absolutely just want to be of service because I love what I do. I love who I do it for, and I'll keep on doing these videos as long as it makes a difference in anybody's life, okay? All right. I thank you for your time. I'm sorry this ran a little long, but, it's good information. So, all right. I thank you so much. Y'all have a great, great day. Y'all take care. Bye.